All right, today we're going to do some basic integer practice to remind you of some integer rules and some computational things. There are going to be two IXL skills, and I just want to go through a couple of things on them. The first one is going to be this one, the C4, and it's about adding and subtracting. But I'm going to give you three or more integers, not too simple. Adding and subtracting positive, negative numbers. Just want to make sure you understand a couple of things. There are different ways to do it. Some ways work better in some situations than others. You kind of want to look at the problem and decide what your best bet's going to be. In this problem, for example, I see a negative one, I see a positive one. Well, they're opposites, and you should know that if you have a negative number and a positive number, it's opposite. You add them together, you get 0. So that means that this negative one and this positive one add together to make 0. The only thing left is -9, so that's got to be my answer, -9. Same thing here. I have a 7, I have a -7. They're going to make 0. They're gone. All I have left is this minus -1. Well, remember, minus negative changes to a plus positive. I'm not sure what words your teacher uses, if they use keep, change, flip, or keep, change, opposite, or keep, change, change, or whatever words they want to use. Minus a negative becomes adding a positive. So that means that these 7s have completely canceled out and made 0, and this 1 becomes a positive. So positive 1 is my answer. All right, here's a different situation. I have -3 minus 5 plus 4. Well, I don't know how you look at this -5. Some of you like to make it plus -5. You do this. Let's see if I can write this without making a mess. You go plus -5. And that's okay if you want to do that. So -3 plus -5, that makes -8. And then -8 plus 4, well, -8 plus 4 makes -4. Some of you don't look at it that way, though. Some of you look at, or at least I look at it this way. I look at it as that the -3 and this -5 means that this 5 is also a negative. It's a -5. So if I have a -3 and a -5, I put them together, and the rule says to add them together because they're both the same sign. So I'll get a -8. Then the -8 plus that 4 is what gives you my -4 as my final answer. Different ways to look at the same problem. Whichever way is most comfortable for you, please stick with it. If you don't understand either of those ways, then we have an issue. We're going to have to try to figure that out. All right, I'm going to jump ahead to a higher level just to show you some more difficult problems. Right here. So now I've got a set of numbers. Instead of 3, I have 5. So different ways to do this again, but if you think about it, well, let's see. I have a -3. Let me get my pen up here. I have a -3, and I have a +3. Well, they're going to make 0. They cancel out. And I have a -1 there and a -1 there. They don't cancel out because they're not negatives. So -1 and -1 makes -2. Now -2 plus 17 makes +15. So take a look and see what numbers you have, and we'll decide the best way to do it from there. Erase all that writing real fast. This time I don't have any opposites. I have 8, -14, +2, -15, -1. I don't have opposites that are going to cancel out, so it's going to be a little bit tougher this time. Again, multiple ways to do this. What I prefer to do in a situation like this, because the numbers aren't too big, I prefer to group together all the positives and get a total positive, and then group together all the negatives and get a total negative. So I have a +8 here, and I have a +2 here, and they're the only positives. So my positive total is 10. And then change my color. The negative numbers are -14, -15, and -1. Add all them together, 14, 15, and 1, and you get a total negative of negative 30. And now if I combine my positive 10 and my negative 30, my final answer is negative 20. It's just the way I did that problem because the numbers were relatively small, as opposed to this problem. Let me skip one more set. We'll get some bigger numbers. Unfortunately, you can't skip like that. That's a teacher function. Now I got some bigger numbers. Not going to do it the same way. In this case, I'm going to try to see if I can take some of those bigger numbers that maybe not are exactly the same, but are going to combine together to make some smaller numbers. I'm going to start by taking my minus negatives and getting rid of those. I don't like minus negatives. Minus negative means plus, positive there. Now that 68 is positive, and minus negative means that 79 is now a positive 79, and this 83 is negative. So I'm going to take the two numbers that are closest together that are big, 79 and negative 83. I'm going to put them together. They're only 4 apart. In this case, the negative 83 is larger. So these two, I'm going to eliminate and combine them into negative 4. And now I'll put together the numbers that I have over here that are all positives. 9 and 2 and 68. Well, I'm going to put together 2 and 68 first, so that makes 70. And 70 plus 9 is 79. Remember, you can add or subtract numbers in any order you want. That's the commutative and associative property of addition. You know those properties? So I had 79 total positive and a negative 4, which means that my final answer is just 79 minus 4, 75. Sorry for the typo. 75. And here's my final answer. So again, there's not necessarily one right way to do it. You could go through and do just one number at a time. You could do 36 plus 18 and get a total, and do whatever that total is plus negative 99 and get another total, and get whatever that total is plus negative 52 and get a final total. It just might be more work that way. So you want to try to find the easiest and shortest method for yourself. That's our adding and subtracting 3 or more integers. The other skill you're going to work on today is multiplying and dividing integers. Multiplying and dividing, different set of rules. Those rules are pretty basic. Remember, 2 negatives makes a positive, and 1 negative, 1 positive makes a negative final answer. Well, they tell me to divide, but if I didn't know that, you better know that a fraction means divide. So 27 divided by 9 is just 3, and a positive and a negative makes negative 3. Multiply, negative 4 and negative 2. 2 negatives make a positive in multiplication, and 4 times 2 is just positive 8. All right, let me just jump ahead a little bit. See what I get when I get to a higher score. So I've got some much larger numbers. Negative 4 times negative 95. First thing I'm going to worry about is the signs. I have a negative. That makes it positive, and I'm done with the signs now. Now my answer is going to be positive. Now I just have to multiply 4 times 95. A couple ways you can do that. You could do 4 times 90, and 4 times 90 is 360, and 4 times 5 is 20. Add them together, and it gives you 380. Or you could do it the long way. You could, let's see if I can get this to right. You could take that 95, and you could take that 4, and you could put a time symbol there, and you could multiply them out. If you learn how to do this traditional multiplication, that's a 0. That's a carry of the 2, because 4 times 5 is 20. That's a 36, and 2 is, oh, sorry for the bad writing with the mouse, 380. So multiple ways to do it. Some ways are better mentally if you are pretty good with your math facts, which hopefully you are. And I'll do one more. Oh, actually, I'll do 2 more. I'll do this one too. I didn't see this one before. I like this one because it's 2,400 divided by 30. Well, first of all, I have a negative. I have a positive. I know that in this box, my final answer is going to be a negative something because I have 1 of each. So I'm going to type my negative sign in there, and now I don't have to worry about it. Now I can just worry about the numbers. So, do you know the rule with the zeros? Since there's 1 0 here, you can cross out one of these zeros here. And now it's just 240 divided by 3. Well, 240 divided by 3, 24 divided by 3 is 8. And I got one more 0 to put on there, negative 80. All right. And last but not least, your division house. The division house is old school. Just remember that you have to figure out how many times this number goes into that number. Well, this number is really big. It's intimidating. But 74, 148, that's about 2 of those, right? Let's see. 2 70s is 140. 2 4s is 8. Jackpot. I divide that and I get 2. The only thing I'm going to say is you saw me do all these problems. I did not use a calculator. Of course, I think my mental math skills, my computational skills should be pretty strong, probably stronger than yours because I've been doing it for a lot longer and that's what I do for a living. But I really would like you to do it without a calculator. If you use a calculator, you're really just wasting time. I really want to know if you can do it without a calculator. If you have to grab a pencil and paper and multiply or divide or whatever you're doing, add and subtract, please do these without a calculator. See what you can do and see if you can get them right. Calculator gives you the right answer every time if you type the right numbers in, but it doesn't mean you've learned anything. So please complete these without a calculator and have fun.